So I know I was saying I was going to be on a break, but of course, when that happened, some actual relevant news for Retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Was announced by Konami. This is actually pretty huge. And so I want to jump into it and kind of break it down for you all. So this is called the Time Wizard format. This is going to be an official alternate format that Konami will be hosting events for. It seems to be only local levels. They haven't announced anything for like a YCS or anything. They just said for local events. Time Wizard format seems to relate to any older format. So it's not necessarily GOAT format. It's not necessarily a Android format. So the only example they used was US Nationals 2005. So it seems like Time Wizard format is just going to be like a rotating event. So they're going to pick a certain bigger event to pick from that I don't know what the date range, but probably from any range from 2002, any date with a limited list, assumably. So like Yugi Kaiba formats all the way to very recent years. So it's only be a $5 entry, which you will get one OTS pack and of course the entry. It's a good if you want to just jump into a little tournament going on, but there's a lot to consider while thinking about this. They did announce it, but they didn't really give too much information. So here's what we're gonna have to look out for. First thing are the erratas. Are we gonna play with all the current erratas of cards? We're talking cards like Sangan and Chaos Emperor, Dragon Envoy of the End, or if the format we're playing for, like let's say Chaos format, are you going to play with the original versions of those cards? We do not know. And if we're playing with older version of the cards, does this also include rulings like the word usage, the lingo of the cards that have been problem solved in recent reprints? Because a lot of the rulings were kind of made up per the tournament as it went on, and that's why you see that one historic GOAT deck that had Guardian Chaos. I mean, what? Or in the OCG, very local events had weird rulings on Archfiend of Guilford. I mean, we're not gonna have to worry about that. Are we gonna have a database for everything, more so than the fan-provided databases like Yugipedia or Format Library, that kind of stuff? I feel like Konami would have to go each time they announce like a format that's going to be played, because I don't know if it's going to be a Konami thing or like a local event can hold a format, just whatever they feel like doing. But I think Konami should decide what the format, whether it's the year or perhaps twice a year, is going to be, then start building that database of rulings for cards. Not, it doesn't need to be every card, but look at the top decks, some of the cards they were playing, some of the rulings at the time that could have been possibly confusing, giving interactions, and kind of go off of that. Just start somewhere. You know what I mean? I think it'll be good if we actually get confirmation for certain events and certain usage of cards. Like, can we use the original Lord of D? Can we use Xarion Universe in that small window of time? Bazoo the Soul Eater with his original effect, is that going to be retroactively kind of fixed? Like, oh no, that was never, ever, ever intended whatsoever. This is stuff that hopefully we'll find out, because kind of the point of this whole channel is just figuring out and solving retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Konami doesn't really have too much information, too much historical data on a lot of it in regards to preservation, which is the main focus of this channel, is retro historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Preservation. I think this is a great thing to add, but there are some things I am a little bit sketch about, we'll say. So players will need to get old cards. Not everyone who plays modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to have older cards like Metamorphosis, Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity, Tribe Infecting Virus. So these are cards that I would hope, because of Time Wizard format, we will see reprints of. Because a lot of these cards have really gone up in price because of the lack of reprinting. Sure, there are older cards that have received many, many, many reprints throughout the years, like Imperial Order, Jinzo, Thousand Eyes Restrict. But we're talking cards like Metamorphosis, which only has, at this current recording, 2 TCG printings, and one, it's still pretty up there in price in terms of old cards, in terms of common cards, 'cause yeah, it's a common, and the other one being a super rare tournament pack, which no one, casual player is going to buy that. And if you're playing a format like GOAT format, that is such a powerful card alongside the Link Duo and Tribe Infecting Virus. Perhaps twice a year, maybe like one in the summer and one in the winter, because we're going to need time for players to become familiar with the formats. Not everyone's going to know, US Nationals 2005, obviously Dark Beginning to Android format, Labyrinth of Nightmare. Like, not everyone is going to know this stuff off the top of their head. So they're going to need to become familiar with the card pool, with the meta, and sort of help build a foundation of that format to help build all these formats together. I think once a year is a bit much for just one format, because it may become stale, because this is more of a, I don't want to say gimmicky thing, but it's kind of a gimmicky thing. The other issue is that it's not great for meta players, because once again, they're not going to own a lot of these old cards, or perhaps put their budget into these decks when these are kind of more side events to the main big meta events. They're going to save their money to buy that Red Eyes Dragoon, Pot of Prosperity, Forbidden Droplet, whatever they need to get for their meta-defining deck. So you're already going to have a chunk of players who isn't even going to bother with that. And when it comes with new players coming into the game, these players might get confused of, okay, well, I can play these cards here, but not here, but this Time Wizard format, I can only play certain cards at certain events, depending on the format, which only goes up to this set, but what's in this set? Does this set, is this before or after the, you know what I mean? Like, it can get confusing for new players coming into the game, and just being like, what am I supposed to play? You got all these really great players playing these crazy, I don't know, Sky Striker decks or whatever is in the meta. It's been a while since I played meta. And you got these players who are playing Teledad. Like, what am I supposed to do here? And it kind of splits the player base a little bit when it comes to like tourney kind of, you know, the events players would go to, which is kind of a shame. I'm not gonna say Retro Yu-Gi-Oh is not fun, because it is freaking fun in many formats, duh. But there has to be like an interesting way to get these players all on the same page, and I don't know what Konami can do about that without kind of fracturing the fan base, because that's also kind of why Retro Yu-Gi-Oh as a community is kind of small. But especially with 2020 being the year it was, where everyone's at home, retro format Yu-Gi-Oh definitely did get a boost from that. I think Konami has to do a lot of work than just say, hey, we're hosting these tournaments. I think they do need to do a lot in regards to having a database, clarifying rulings, addressing erratas, reprinting cards. That's the big one for me, honestly. So I would like some nice quality metamorphosis. But I think it's really awesome that they're even just doing this to begin with. That I think everyone's surprised that they're showing any sort of support for Retro Yu-Gi-Oh. We'll have to wait till we get more information, because I really don't have too much else from like the article we have. And there's other cool stuff from the article, like Deck Masters. Those are a thing now? What?